Morning everybody, we're just going to set up the PowerPoint. It's not an all singing, all dancing PowerPoint because we're not about what we look like visually, we're radio people, so surely it's all about what we sound like and actually not about branding in terms of getting a logo and sticking it all over everything you do, because your brand is more than that. It's more than just the logo on the top of your website. So we started out much the same story that we've just heard from Dave, all the RSLs and so on, and finally getting a licence. And we needed to then find out what direction the station was going to take. Well, actually, we did that when we applied for the licence. So when developing our brand, we started out by asking, why do we exist? So in some stations, you're existing to provide a platform for young people to learn skills. You might be delivering skills-based training. You might want to be right at the commercial end of the spectrum. You might be in a university station. You might exist to create a professional working environment for students who want to go into broadcasting. So for us, why do we exist? To be the go-to media for local news, information and entertainment. So immediately, the listener is king. For Wycombe Sound, the listener is the most important person in the mix. And yes, we work with young people. We've had tremendous success with young people on the autistic spectrum, teaching them broadcasting skills, improving their self-confidence. One's now in full-time employment, one's gone to university. So all of those things come on as well. But for us, the listener is the most important person, because by building an audience, then you can create the revenue which enables you to do all the other projects and all the great work that we all want to do. So there is quite a lot of management consultancy bollards around branding and so on. You can find loads of information on the internet, but actually there are some really useful things to do. So the first thing that spills out from your mission statement is your objective. So for us, it's to enthuse listeners about all the brilliant things going on in the local area, because the local paper will concentrate on car crash headlines. So how can we be different? How can we become the go-to media by talking about all the great stuff? Because it's often under the radar. Engage. So how can we engage our listeners? Well, they listen, they engage on social media, they phone in, they come in to be interviewed, they come and work on projects, all sorts of things, but it's by having open doors, open channels of communication for people to get in touch with you, and not to be sort of sat in an ivory tower thinking, oh, we're all superstar DJs. And actually a neighbour of mine listens to a big commercial, nationwide commercial station all the time, and they run lots of competitions. And she said, Pippa, I just wait 10 minutes. They announce the competition, I wait 10 minutes, I phone in, and I get straight through every time. So actually, I don't think that those big stations with their big competitions actually have as much engagement as they like us to think. And when they're lobbying government and they're, taking government ministers and spads on luxurious jollies and so on, I don't actually think they deliver the good work that we do. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So engage, yeah. Inform, well, yes, that's all your straightforward stuff. The local news, the traffic and travel, what's the local council up to, what's the MP up to, let's hold these people to account, let's give the listeners the opportunity to ask the questions, which they can't do through the local paper. Entertain goes without saying, really. Economy, we want to be a big part of the local economy, so anyone that's opening a new business, anybody that's offering training courses, work experience and so on, those opportunities for people to come through and learn something new, which will then, knock-on effect, help to build the local economy. That also links into local events and so on, so we have a really chock-a-block what's on guide every day, and the community as well. And we have an Asian station in High Wycombe, which broadcasts in Urdu and Punjabi, but that doesn't stop us appealing to those listeners as well, because our station is for everybody, and we celebrate all of the religious festivals. We talk about them. It's an open door policy, because by breaking down barriers, answering those things that people are wondering at home, helps to bring us all together, and that's been a big success for us. So those are our objectives as a station. But the other thing that comes from why do we exist is, what sort of station do we want to be? And this is the values bit. And if you Google brand values, could anybody just grab me a glass of water, because I've got to dry up at the moment. Thank you, thank you. If you Google brand values, there's a brilliant website that lists 190 of the world's biggest brands and what they list their values as. And some of the big, thank you very much indeed, some of the big accountancy firms, they're very dry, you know, it's, oh, we're going to be professional and accountable, and oh, it's all a bit dull. If you look at something like IKEA, they're brilliant, you know, they're really engaging. Straight away you think, oh yeah, that's why the public love IKEA, because they live their values. So our values, professionalism, obviously, because we want to sound as slick and brilliant as the next station on the dial, and that might be Radio 2, so watch out, Zoe, because I'm starting the new breakfast show in a couple of weeks. But it might be the next community station down the road. Excuse me a moment. Empathy is about putting ourselves in the shoes of the listener, or putting ourselves in the shoes of the new work experience kid who you know, is shy, but who wants to learn skills and so on, and just try and look at things through their eyes. So that's empathy. Integrity is doing what we say we're going to do. Fun, obviously. The way we work is, when we're developing a new programme with somebody, we make sure they've got the technical skills to run the studio. We then look at their programme proposal, we'll knock that into shape with them, but then we stand back. And that's the fun bit, really, because we let then people do their own thing within, you know, parameters that we've set. When I started out, I won't name the station, but the station manager was always coming in, oh, don't do it like that, do it like this, and can you do this, and can you do that, and, you know, you just play what you're told to play. And that didn't work for me. So we've adopted a different approach, and we do have a lot of fun, and actually that links in with togetherness, which is teamwork. We'll come on to the awards later, actually, and teamwork comes into that. One thing we do have, actually, and I've met a lot of other stations, visited a lot of other stations, we do have the luxury of having a big space. You've got a lovely space in this building as well. And I think that goes a long way to creating that team spirit. Because if you've only got a tiny space, you don't have that opportunity for everyone to get round the table and throw ideas around and so on. So if you're in a small space and you've got that opportunity, you've got a bit of extra money, take that risk, take the jump, get yourself a bigger space, because then you create that team spirit. And the last of our values is to be innovative and to, you know, push the boundaries and be trying new and exciting things. Much of that is on the technical side with my cohorts, Luke and Liam. They're not here today, but they've been nominated for awards along the way for their technical innovation, and there's lots more of that to come. So those are our values. This is all leading up to how you drive revenue, by the way. Know your target audience and give them what they want. It's simple. It's the most simple, basic marketing message. Who are you aiming for? please, please don't just say, oh, everybody in the local area. You've got to have a target audience, and you've got to know what it is they want to hear, and then give it to them. That is how you build an audience. It's as simple as that. That's what we've done. We looked at what other radio stations were available in our area, what different people of different age groups wanted to hear. We set our target at 35 to 70, and then 18 months on we did some research, and hey, you know, guess what? We had some older teens listening, nobody really in their 20s, and then from 30 onwards the numbers were right up there, and our biggest audience profile is 40s and 50s. So know who it is you're targeting and give them what they want. Every person who has any contact with your station is a potential ambassador for your station. Every volunteer. You want your volunteers to go away telling great stories about how you've boosted their confidence, they've learnt something new, they've made new friends. Oh, I've come out of retirement to do my 60s and 70s rock and pop show. It's changed my life. I was sat at home in my study. This is a guy, he was a criminologist, had a fantastic career, globe-trotting, academia and so on. And he was retired and sitting in his office, and suddenly he's got a whole new lease of life. Guests, contributors, advertisers, stakeholders, those are the local charities, the business clubs, the chambers of commerce, the local council and so on. Every single person that has any contact with your station, you want them to go away raving about it. So make sure that they've had a good experience. Okay. A bit controversial. We were at the awards a couple of months ago, and awards for us are very important because they do help to drive revenue. You know, you go and tell your local authority, your local chamber of commerce, that you are award winners, they want to associate with you, especially not only on the advertising and sponsorship, but on the CSR. This whole corporate social responsibility is a big pot of money that we should all be dipping into these days. And it's not always about cash. It can be for goods in kind, it could be for expertise. You could have your local law firm drawing up your, I don't know, your sales terms and conditions or something like that. So there is a lot of money and expertise that is available through CSR, and you know, by winning awards or being even nominated, even talking about the process of choosing. You know, hey, we'd love to enter Best Entertainment Show. What do you, the listeners, think is the programme that we should put forward for that award? Get people talking about it. Then you get nominated. Well, there's a press release. People are talking about it. And then when you win, people are talking about it. So I make no excuses for the number of applications we make to the awards. We've been very successful again this year. If more people entered the awards, there'd be more success being spread around the UK. So just hands up, actually. Anybody here whose station didn't enter or didn't engage with the awards? Okay, and hands up who did? Okay, so it is about 50-50. I think every single station in the UK should be entering the awards, giving Martin the feedback, helping him to develop it and making it as easy as possible for everybody to enter. And I will say it, we were in there that evening and we'd had 2 nominations, I think, for Best Male Presenter, and one of them won. And then we had 2 nominations for Best Entertainment Show, and there were boos in the room behind where I was sitting, and that is not on. So what I'd like is actually for everybody to come and be part of the awards, and don't diss people who have spent a lot of time and effort built their team up, got their whole team working together to put these things together. Because actually, our business, since our nominations, has doubled. So awards and all the communication around them is very, very valuable. So let's move on. How can you add value? We decided when we set our pricing policy, we are as good as the local paper. The local paper do the car crash headlines. We're perfectly as good as them. Our pricing is going to be on a level with them. We're not cheap. We're not amateur. We're running a professional service here. We're going to charge the money for it. And if you hold that line, that business will come. As long as you are providing the service that you say you're going to provide. Focus on what you do best. So we realised, we've been distracted along the way. I said to the local Chamber of Commerce, yeah, I'd like to get in front of businesses. So they set up this whole, about 8 events, where we did like a question time type panel. So there was a Brexit one, there was a end of year accounting one. It was all very, very dull. But they said, oh yeah, but Pippa, we've got you in front of all these businesses. Yeah, but they were all management consultants, accountancy firms, law firms and so on, the same faces every time. It was a shed load of work for us, and we decided we're not doing this anymore. We're going to focus on what we do best, which is entertaining local people. So that's what we do. So don't be swayed. Don't be scared to say no. I'm now not scared to say no. A businessman came to me, he said, oh, Pippa, I think we should have a regular business programme, half an hour, no, at lunchtime, no, where we'll talk about a different aspect of business every week and we'll get it sponsored. I think, yeah, okay, well, we might get the sponsorship, but we will lose thousands of listeners. So I said, no, don't be scared to do that. Very early on, I was at a networking event. I ran into another lady who works in another station which will be unnamed, and I mentioned the word charities. She said, Pippa, whatever you do, don't get a charity in, because otherwise they'll all want to come on. And I was horrified. I was horrified. We have an open door. It's absolutely free for any local charity to come in and talk about what they're doing in the local area. Nobody has ever come in shaking a tin. They talk about the outcomes, what they're doing, how they change people's lives. Listeners love it, okay? So charities are brilliant. Everyone's a winner. Their website hits go up, they get new volunteers. So charities are great. Dogs, why did I write down dogs? I can't remember, I'll come back to that. Web advertising, we get people every week, oh, can we do your website? Oh, you can optimise it for online advertising, you'll make loads of money. No, it distracts from the purity and the quality of our website, so we haven't gone down that road. I'm not saying that applies to everybody in the room, might be a good earner for you. It wasn't for us. That's it, in a nutshell, really. I mean, I could go on. I've been given the wind-up, so I better stop. Are we doing what's coming next sort of later? Yeah, okay. So anyway, so all of those things together, everybody having a good experience, everybody being an ambassador, get your listeners and all of your ambassadors doing your sales for you, and that's how you build a brand that drives revenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pippa. And as I offered one quick question to Dave, has anybody got a burning question they want for Pippa? Or you can maybe hold it. Oh, we do it in the front there. Ian, thank you.
Pippa, you mentioned the local paper.
Oh, sorry, can you get the microphone first? Sorry, because it's being recorded. Sorry, I should have said that. Sorry, thank you, Ian.
Pippa, you mentioned the local paper at least 4 times. What's your relationship like? It sounded like there's a little bit of resentment, maybe competition there.
Yeah, they started out treating us as competition. The salesman came, the head of the commercial team came round to see me, and he said, oh, you're just a little charity outfit, aren't you? And I've let him think that. So we are very slowly and surely taking apart his whole commercial department. We're going after his advertisers. While he thinks, oh, we're just a little charity outfit, that's fine. He's not sort of gunning for us. One of these days he's going to realise that, you know, we are a worthy competitor. Part of what's coming next for us is to beef up and really refine our local news, because we are going to lead the local news. We're not going to be followers. We're going to lead it, and then the local paper, which is already going down the pan, they're relying more and more on the website hits. But one of our advertisers told me they did a deal with the local paper. They spent £1,000 on a half-page advert and a web wrapper thing. And he got 3 clicks, and those people immediately left his website. So I know that web clicks and stuff are, you know, not the way to go.
Thank you, Pippa. Excellent.